You cannot prosper in Chicago politics unless you are corrupt and or you will do whatever those behind you say you should do or say. What they did was turn him into an empty screen. And they did it by simply using key words. I stand for change. Now, that's a good one. Because the way the system works, at any point in time, most people are sick to death of the status quo. So anyone coming along and saying, I stand for change, well, at least we'll have him because we don't like the way things are. It's very powerful. That's what Clinton used to get to power. I stand for change. And stand for hope. Now, hope is a good thing. We must hope. No, we mustn't hope. Hope's in the future that doesn't exist. Hope is always the horse on the carousel that's just a bit in front of yours and you're never going to catch it up. Hope is a holding position from real change. That's what hope is. He's an empty suit. But because at no point did he define in any detail what hope, what change, what something to believe in really meant, because if he did, they say, oh, if that's what it means, I'm not having that. Keep it simple. And what they did brilliantly was to create a blank screen on which the American people, or vast numbers of them, projected what hope, something to believe in, and change meant to them. So they turned him into all things to all people. And then once he is elected, well, bugger all that. We've got power now, and everything goes on as before. The rhetoric's different, the words are different, but what is happening is exactly the same as in the Bush era in all the basic things. Change, change, change. It's all mind control. You look at that, and what you are being told on a subconscious level is, he stands for change, something we can believe in. And that is there to influence your conscious mind eventually into voting for the guy. This is what Adolf Hitler said. Make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it. Make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it. It's just the same technique that's been used over and over again. The wolf found that shepherd's clothing worked even better. And that's what he is. Oh, he's such a nice man. I love you, Barack. Well, that's good. Let's love everybody, but let's be streetwise as well. He's just a front man for the gang who funded him in the Patriot Act, this Orwellian abomination. Yes, he's supporting the furtherance and continuance of that and all the rest of it. And what has he done since he got in? Hurl money at the banks. This is the truth. This is what Barack Obama is really about. And more people are seeing that. And even the people with their eyes closed, I don't want to know, shut up, are going to have to face it eventually. This is the guy behind Barack Obama, or one of the key men behind Barack Obama. Zbigniew Brzezinski, who is a massive insider within this network I'm talking about, Jimmy Carter's national security advisor. How ironic he stands here and contemplates that Barack Obama is now sending thousands more troops into Afghanistan to overcome the problem. Ah, really? Well, his best mate here, who picked him up in the 80s and with others has brought him through to be president, it was always planned, has gone public some years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago, in a Paris magazine, admitting that when he was Jimmy Carter's national security advisor, he decided that he wanted, in his words, to give the Soviet Union their Vietnam. So what he then did was, own words, he funded and trained what were called freedom fighters, became known as the Mujahideen, in Afghanistan, to start causing trouble for the government in Kabul, the capital, which at that time was a satellite government of the Soviet Union. What he was doing was trying to entice the Soviet Union to, his words, to invade Afghanistan and then becoming broiled in a Vietnam-type endless war that they couldn't win, as other people have found in Afghanistan. And that's what the Soviet Union did. And they were there for about 10 years, and never mind the Russians who died, 1 million Afghans died, And this guy thought, well, that's not a problem, own words, because it gave them their Vietnam and brought them down as a superpower. This is how these people think. And now the man who created the Mujahideen, funded and trained them, which then became the Taliban, and the guy Osama bin Laden was brought out of Saudi Arabia to front up that Mujahideen resistance to the Soviet invasion. The man who started all that going, because he's asset, bin Laden, absolutely, totally convinced he's dead. I mean, you know, no one ever talks about him anymore, do they? Isn't it funny? Brzezinski, the man who started it all, is the guy, or one of the key guys behind Obama, who's now saying we've got to put thousands of troops into Afghanistan to stop the Taliban. Have a word with your mate. And Brzezinski talks about this area. He's been talking about this area for a long time. He calls it Eurasia. And he says that to control the world, in effect, in simple terms, you need to control Eurasia. This area of land that includes key places like Afghanistan, Iran, the places around the Caspian Sea, this great area of oil and gas reserves, like Georgia, where they've been having problems recently, Pakistan, and all this area, which so much of the world is now focusing on, is this area of the world going up into Russia. And Brzezinski seems to have a morbid genetic hatred of Russia for some reason. That's what we're seeing. And Henry Kissinger is now being used by Obama, officially anyway, to negotiate and stuff with the Russians, which is, you know, it's like sending an atom bomb to a peace conference. And this guy, of course, Henry Kissinger, is one of the most blatant and high-profile manipulators for this Illuminati in the last 40 to 50 years. And Brzezinski, in 1973, with David Rockefeller, set up one of the key organizations in the Illuminati network, at one level anyway, called the Trilateral Commission. That's how much of an insider he is. And this is the network. It's around a secret society called the Round Table. It goes down to the start, or just before the start of the 20th century. And these groups, like the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, which manipulates the environmental movement, get to that later, Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations in America, the United Nations, all these connect into that secret society. And Brzezinski is a major player to the point where he co-founded the Trilateral Commission. This is the guy behind Barack Obama. And this is what he wrote in 1970, Brzezinski. The technotronic era involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled society. Such a society would be dominated by an elite, unrestrained by traditional values. Soon it will be possible to assert almost continuous surveillance on over every citizen and maintain up-to-date complete files containing even the most personal information about the citizen. These files will be subject to instantaneous retrieval by the authorities. 1970. This has been planned for a long, long time, which is unfolding apparently spontaneously now. And when you look at Obama's policies, all you need to do is look at Brzezinski's books before anyone had heard of Obama. This is what he wrote in a book before Obama ran for president. Needed social reassessment can be encouraged by deliberate civic education that stresses the notion of service to a higher cause than oneself. As some have occasionally urged, a major step in that direction would be the adoption of an obligatory period of national service for every young adult, perhaps involving a variety of congressionally approved domestic or foreign good works. Barack Obama. Policy. Obama will call on citizens of all ages to serve America by developing a plan to require 50 hours of community service in middle school and high school and 100 hours of community service in college every year. Watch this in Australia. I don't know if they're trying to do this here, but they will, because they're talking about it now in Britain, and they want this everywhere. This is the policy continued, Obama's policy. We cannot continue to rely on our military in order to achieve the national security objective we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded. They want to create in every country civilian security